Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It is Monday, the 20th of July, exactly 21 days until D-Day, until Elections Day. And this morning, joining me in studio for Pep Talks in the morning is our candidate for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, Miss Lima McLeod Wilkinson. Lima, and I'm going to read her bio now. Lima is a long-standing resident of Belmont, married, and is the mother of three beautiful children. She is a deputy political leader and co-chair of the Women's Arm under the Progressive Empowerment Party. She completed an occupational safety and health and crisis and emergency management certificate. She's very passionate about adopting rescued animals as opposed to buying them. She has always been one for protest action against the injustice against workers and rights of our people. So naturally, politics just seemed like the right place to start fixing things. While politics plays a big part in her life now, she enjoys music, beach activities, local tourism, traveling, and spending time with her family and friends. I actually thought I was going to be spending money because we know Lima likes to shop. Welcome to the program this morning. Our candidate for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, Miss Lima McLeod. Lima, please. Well, not please, but welcome to the program this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure. You're actually competing with your political leader who is on TV6 this morning, I believe. He's on Morning Edition, but he will pull his crowd and we will pull ours because this is
Okay.
election season and a million things are happening at once. One of them
Yes.
being bringing our candidates onto this program and giving them that 1 hour airtime to reach out to their constituencies. This is the woman who goes by the term Stuart Young's replacement. She would be the woman who I am casting my vote for in the upcoming elections. And I know she's very excited about that whole prospect of being on the ballot paper. I think it would be a historical moment for not just Lima, but all of the candidates in this upcoming election. How are you doing this morning, Lima?
I'm tired because these couple nights I'm going to sleep very late and waking up very early. But other than that, I'm getting my exercise, doing my walkabouts. So I'm having a lot of fun, meeting new people too, a lot of people. And they're actually willing to come outside to hear you, to see you, and shock. Oh my God, I didn't know it had a new party. Well, good luck. A lot of people saying good luck. They're glad to see a lot of young faces. So it's exciting.
Are you getting the comments? So when I talk to people like this Saturday, I was in Diego Martin and I said, "Hi, I'm the candidate for Diego Martin Central." And the woman looked up from the policy flyer and she said, "You?" At first, I was a little offended. I was like, "Yeah, me." And she's like, "But you don't look older than 12." People telling you they find you look too young for this.
No, no, they say that I look young, but I don't know if they're just intimidated to ask my age or what. But they're just glad to see young faces.
And I tell them that I said, you know what, it's time to sweep out them cobwebs and them old fogies from the parliament. They warm the benches
Yeah.
enough. It's time for some fresh
Yeah.
blood
They go
sitting
into they
in.
go into this geriatric stage where they just fall asleep on the parliament comfy couch and head rocked back and mouth open. Come on, man.
About time to do away with that. Lima, you're not going to be exempt from the line of questioning that all of my candidates get. You've been on the show as a co-host, you've been as part of a panel, but now you are in the orange seat, a metaphorical orange seat, where we interview you as a candidate. And please, for all our viewers this morning, please share the live video as we get into this conversation with Lima this morning. Lima, first question. We read that you like to rescue animals and go shopping. No, sorry, I know that it wasn't shopping. That you like to spend time with family and money. I felt like you should have included that part. But tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Um, well, I come from parents who were public servants, and my mother is a retired nursing assistant. My father is a retired primary school teacher. I went to school in the primary school up here. It's now closed down due to crime and I think a fire, and it's overrun with, you know, mounds of bush and a jungle actually.
Mm.
And I have worked in so many different areas. I worked in banking. I worked as a receptionist. I tried a lot of things, and it's due to the fact of my school that I attended, Corpus Christi College. They have their own OJT program. So
Mm.
just after you do CXC, you would get a couple weeks with work experience in some places. So I started off with Excellent Stores, High Low, and then Tea and Tech. I had a lot of fun doing things like that. So it kind of prepared you for what the working world would be like.
Mm-hmm.
And then so it just kept with me this whole change, and changes, progress, evolving, changing yourself, that kind of thing. So I like
Yeah.
that. And now I'm a public servant. I recently became permanent after 12 years, which
Wow.
is yeah, yeah, which is a huge thing apparently in the service. People were saying, they became permanent after 15 years, and I'm saying, but something is wrong with this. If the government is be telling private places no more than a year continuous work, and the person not be made permanent, why is the government service going against their own legislation? So I
Yeah.
had issues with that. I joined PSA, so I have been in the front of so many PSA protests. I've been caught on TV and behind the camera so many times. And not that I want to, but I just end up there and people would screenshot it, circle me and be like, look, I see you. So
Lemon with the
that's
infamous
something that I actually
plastic
like.
bag.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, nah, for the PSA protests, I don't have anything in my hand like that. But yeah, so I have always been that outspoken, looking for better improvement, always. And I enjoy doing those things. I'm always down for a PSA protest, fighting for our rights. We have sick buildings. We're still working on 2013 salaries. So right now we are really supposed to be protesting for that too. So it's very hard now being a public servant, and it's unfair. And I can't wait for the
Lemon,
Progressive Empowerment Party to get there so we could end this whole negotiating after the period has passed.
and that's the question I wanted to ask you. What is the reason for all of that the backlog in terms of salaries and this back pay culture that we have, and what is the reason that employees take so long to become permanent? I mean, 12 years seems like an extremely long time. You can make a whole child and they sit SEA in the time that you're still struggling on
Yeah.
a contract pay. So what is
Well, it's
the
not even
what
contract,
is the
it's
whole back?
temporary. Paperwork. They
And so
need
that's
to
what you call
upgrade the
temporary.
system. Yeah. Yeah. There's a difference between contract and
So
temporary. So it's a issue with paperwork. You see, everything is done manually written. Everything is letter writing. You have to send from this one to that one. And then if the commission don't have a board in place, then it's stuck there until they get a board. And when they finally do get a board, they have to start from scratch to understand what's going on, and then start doing the paperwork to respond to what we sent up. So it's a lot of antiquated
but 12 years
measures.
to write a letter. I mean, is this letter being delivered by pigeon? What
No,
it's
but
taken?
it's not only that, they have to promote senior people and appoint them in their positions in order for us to fill the vacancies lower down. So it's a
Hmm.
whole overhaul of the system that needs to be done. Undo and redo. Everything is undo and redo.
I remember listening to the minister in the Ministry of Finance. I keep forgetting this woman's name. When she was making an argument for why why they are opening their own kind of private tax revenue collection department separate from the Service Commission, and she openly admitted that they had a 50 to 60% vacancy in the public service, and that it was operating at less than half of its capacity,
And she should
which I
also
do.
know that that is her government's fault because
Well, that's what I
regardless of
wanted to
which
say.
PNM-led government, whether it's Manning or Rowley, it is still PNM. And under Manning, they had stopped hiring clerks under Service Commission. So if you stop hiring, how are you going to fill vacancies?
I always consider the public service as the place that always have a vacancy but never hiring. Every time you look in the papers, there's a vacancy in some ministry.
And that's the
And
contract, and that's contract.
but how do you go
Those are
about
contract.
getting these jobs? I applied for service commission maybe I came out of school in 2007, 2000. Yeah, so after CXC, I would have applied for
Yeah.
the service
That's the
and I have
first thing
never
most people do. As soon as you finish school or you're about to get results, you apply one time to Service Commission or SASE. And what it's supposed to do is you have an age limit to enter the service. The age limit is 23 for clerk. Other positions might have other age limits, and others might need an application specifically for that due to qualifications and those kind of things. So what SASE, which is Statutory Authority Services Commission, do? They would go through the file and see who is about to reach the age limit and pull them out and ask them if they want to come in while they're still going through. And they go through year by year.
Hmm.
So the amount of applications per year. So when you call them to find out what about your application, you have to tell them the year you apply. So they will go to that file with the year, pull it, see where you are, and then. And Service Commission doesn't do the age limit thing where they check to see if you're approaching your age. They would just leave it. Or this person reached 23. When? Or it passed already. Oops. Okay, bye. Next person. They're very
That sounds
counterproductive.
like a yeah, it sounds like a very cumbersome, counterproductive, bureaucracy riddled, red tape kind of
Yeah, yeah,
backyard system. I mean, if that is the process of hiring, I can understand now why there's so much politics to get into the public service. I can understand
that's why
now
they
why you have
hire
to
a lot of
hire.
contract people, and I think they do it for spite to bring in their people, their young people who need a job, their friends. And when people say they go in the public service and they get an attitude from public servants, they don't necessarily mean the clerks. It could be contract people that them hiring because hey, my father bring me in, you can't do me nothing. That's the attitude.
Mhm.
Council bring me in, and that's the attitude.
Another, like you said, another area that the Progressive Empowerment Party has to undo and definitely
Yeah,
redo, because I mean the public service is responsible for it's the number one employer in the country, right? I believe Republic Bank is the
yeah,
second highest employer in the country. The public service is the biggest employer, and for a system to be so cumbersome, so bureaucracy riddled, it is clearly
yeah,
reflective of the inefficiency of the government on a whole. It's just mirrored
yeah.
in their
And
hiring
you know what?
and hiring
It
process.
shows if they would improve their technology systems, like IT systems, they wouldn't have this problem. You enter everybody and you put the date that they entered and you put in their birthday. So you could put in simple little mechanisms so that when the person is approaching the cutoff period, which is age 23, it would pull these people and show you, give you some alert that
Yeah,
this person.
flag it
So
in the
you could call the
system.
people. Yeah, yeah. So you would be able to see, okay, this person, let me call them or whatever the case is. And why you don't have simple things like that? Because you don't want to spend the money to do those kind of things. And that we are in the age of technology. Why not? Everything's supposed to
Mm,
be at the click of a button, not paper. And yeah, good to have paper, but I mean, at the same time, your IT system supposed to be up to date and easier.
Is it good to have paper though? We have cases of when new governments come into office or when audit time pending, um companies like WASA, suddenly their records get burned and suddenly this
They're
file goes missing.
combustible.
Is that the point of
And
having
because we need
paper
to
trail
get
so that they
the,
can quickly go up in
well,
smoke?
no, well, for those companies, that's why you need to get these state boards out of them. And that's what people need to
Hmm.
understand. Once you remove that political arm of state run companies, they will be able to run more efficiently. All you have to do is just improve your labor ministry. You get competent labor inspectorates, you give them the law, they're supposed to know the law, and they're supposed to be the buffer between the company and the minister. They're not supposed to have any political affiliation. It's supposed to be neutral. So there's a problem in some company. You could go to the labor inspectorate and say, listen, this is my complaint, this is my problem. And they are supposed to investigate, and then they could take it further from there. So this state board rubbish where, well, my party in office, so I bring in my people, I send in home them, and I bring in my, that's nonsense. Let
Yeah,
WASA hire who they need to hire because they will know what they need. And when these boards come to dictate CEO pays and tell them, well, no, you hire this one instead of that one, we have problems. And it's the same thing with local government bodies. They need to get council out of there because councils try to
exactly.
hoodwink the CEOs and tell them, well, no, do this and do that, and we want it so. Whereas the corporations have already a mandate to do. And if you take them away from what they are supposed to do what you want them to do, who doing what they're supposed to do?
Understood. We kind of sidestepped a little bit the topic, but this I think was a very important sidestep to go down because it deals a lot with, the management of this country. And I know it's an
Yeah.
area that you in particular and labor relations that you are very much interested in. But I asked you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Now let's move on to your work in the constituency. How is that going, and what is the work that you're doing on the ground in Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West? I've been seeing you very busy, getting your exercise, like you say, walking the
Mhm.
streets of Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West. Tell us a little bit more about that.
It's going good so far. I've been meeting a lot of people who are interested in the party. They're happy that there's a third option. Many people are saying, I wasn't going and vote this year.
Hmm.
And when I give them policies and they see, and the fact that they're seeing somebody, they are actually excited about it. They say, yes, I'll go some research on. I met a young guy yesterday. He said he was undecided. So when I showed him the policy, he said he will check it out. Discussing, some of the little things that we wanted to do, especially with and that's the number one issue, people, the lack of jobs, the lack of opportunities. So I gave him
Hmm.
some ideas, and he was like, "Yeah, the truth. Why they didn't do that?" So that's about it. A lot of, I met a guy yesterday. He was waiting patiently for Stuart Young to give him piece of his mind. And when he saw me passing, the man jumped up in his car. Yes, who's that? So when I told him, I've heard about your party before. And his mom downstairs, she got a flyer. She's like, oh my God, I am so happy to see you. She took the flyer. She's like, I will definitely read up on it. Right? I will give you my vote. I she's like, I will give you a chance. She's like, we need to get rid of the PNM. I said, yes, we do. So that is the
Indeed. And when
general
people tell me that,
consensus. A lot of people have a little concern with Philip, but as I tell them, Philip is the way he is because of the years of abuse this country has been through. Wouldn't you be mad if you had a company being run by somebody and instead of the company run properly, they rich and everybody else catching in and so that's
hmm,
more or less it.
I saw and I asked our producer to clip this video, a video that you did on Saturday that has now gone into the viral stratosphere of the internet of on Facebook. You, I heard it caused some panic in the PNM camp. You had a certain PNM counselor coming to defend her track record, coming to defend the fact that she works and it's not her fault, but the system under which she works. Every time I listen to a PNM person complain about the system, I feel as if it's like a double. I don't know. Every time they complain about it, I want to ask them, you realize that the reason the system doesn't work and the reason that it fails is because of the party that you are a part of, right? That they have had over 45 years in government, in the sitting parliament, to change this broken system under which you operate, and they have failed to do it. Every time they complain.
Yeah, because it's like, who in office now? Who has the potential to fix it? Now your government? Wait, yeah. What's going on? The elevator going all the way up?
Well, we have that video that was taken by Limma McLeod this Saturday. I wanted to play one of the clips from that video that shows her dissatisfaction with her current MP, Mr. Stuart Young. Let's play that video now.
Trinidad and Tobago. Today is Saturday, and while I was home doing my many responsibilities as a working mother, you know, I heard some loud music outside in the street, and I decided, you know, that does sound like the regular cars passing with a loudspeaker, so let me see. When I went outside, it's a PNM motorcade with my MP, Stuart Young, who is waving, passing, you know, like when the Queen passing, how you would imagine they would wave. And I'm saying, no, we don't support, you know. And there were other people heckling in the street saying, no, the only time we see all is election time. You don't get to see all during the term when we come to all for assistance, all never there, all don't want to help, you're balling yeah, and you don't see nothing, right? But now here it is, you find the time to pass through and wave at people. Why didn't come out and walk? Why didn't come out and walk up there in Belmont? Why, am you afraid? You are the Minister of National Security. You're afraid to walk in the area? That's your own constituency and you're afraid to walk there? And then when you saw me, you do this. Like, yeah, move fly. Yeah, I might be a small fry, you know. But because of your incompetence and your inability to perform as an MP is the reason why I am here. Look at my constituents. Look at the street you drive on. The road's bad, but you're passing through with your fancy motorcade. You ain't care about how bad the roads is. You ain't care about nothing. Pothole. The same corner you bend had a huge pothole. Right? Cars just have to go in the right lane to avoid that pothole. Right? But no, you're passing and you're waving.
Yeah, Limma, that was a very fiery video that you did there. I remember watching it in full yesterday while I sat with Satish in the waiting room of the studio as he prepared for his interview. And I finally saw it in full, and every time you hit it on the button, I was like, go Limma, because I mean you really told it as it is. And for those who haven't seen that video, please go on the PEP page, go on the Pottersway North St. Anne's West page, and listen out for and look for that video in particular. It's about 3 minutes long, where Limma really hits it to Stuart Young, who is a known failure as an MP in the Pottersway North St. Anne's West region. And now that it's election time, he's coming to pander for our vote as they do every 5 years. Limma, what was your entire, I mean, I got it in the video, but how did you feel seeing this man drive to your area like some kind of queen on top of a truck?
I was so mad that it's like, could have just go outside there and get on with this man. Because it's like, what you doing passing through this area? After, look how long after you now passing here. He must don't even know the area up there. Is it kind of dotish wave too? Like, something wrong with you. Oh man, does wave like that? But I mean, I need to hear the other guys in the street saying, yeah, we just don't need to see all around this time. And that kind of thing. I heard somebody mention, look at the kind of cars in the motor. Expect.
You broke up a little bit there. Look at the kind of cars. Oh, look at the kind of cars in the motorcade. Yeah, they came into all the government vehicles and Prados and all of that, right?
Yeah. And then his one or two councilwomen there, their new vehicles passing through, and it's like, what to be proud to pass through here in the place looking like this. That's what I don't understand. But everywhere, empty lot with all kind of garbage and all kind of thing, pothole here, and some big potholes. It's not to say you could go down, you have to avoid them. And then burst pipe here, there, and everywhere. And you proud to say, yeah, that's my constituency. This is where I represent.
Really embarrassing. And I see they are now scrapings in front of Valley Road to pay.
They scraped it off you. So I want to see when they're going to pave it.
I've been seeing that around in my own constituency. Actually, they started scraping the top of the Diego Martin main road for maybe over 2 miles. Is scraped road and no paving, so the kind of traffic that has created, because they scrape the road and where it's uneven, they reveal all of the big. So if a main road has traffic, you can imagine what it is like now. But listen, for the people who I hope you're not getting fooled by this whole paving road nonsense and motorcade and all this drama, because
I hope
who said, you couldn't find my house during 19, but you're finding my house now to beg me for your vote. You couldn't pave my roads when it was dilapidated and broken down, but election around the corner, so I could get some fresh pitch now.
Yeah, and it's the naiveness of some of the councillors. Well, we had messaged the pure PURE, which is some department in Ministry of Works concerned, and it's like, how brainwashed are you to not know that this is an election gimmick? What, you're now born or something? That is PNM style thing. You do nothing for the first 4 years, and in the last year you want to spend money, you want to do this. I'm surprised he didn't call PSA to say, well, let's settle negotiations now.
He's afraid for what's the nuke to light him on fire. Right now, PNM frightened of what happening in Tobago, and I am watching it in absolute awe and absolute support, because I mean, I have never seen Tobago so riled up for an option that wasn't PM before. And Shamfa Kujo is worried.
Yeah.
I can see it on her little rosy face. Who's the next one? The kind of waste of time one.
I have to tell you how she's so exactly waste of time. Nobody know who the hell she is.
Nobody even know who she is. Whatever. Right now they're frightened and they're panicking, and
people know her. Because you see all her changes from when she first came. I say Shamfa is lucky people know her from all the changes first started to now. She looks almost like a different person.
Nothing that taxpayers' money can't solve in terms of uplifting yourself, reinventing yourself. I don't know, but Shamfa, you need to reinvent a new way to reach the people, because from what I'm hearing, word on the ground in Tobago is that you have been a waste of time. The only thing that you're good for is a photo op, and in terms of, I mean,
but how often make fun. You be in Tobago? You're living in Trinidad. She should be there doing Zoom conference and stuff in Tobago, not coming here every minute or living here.
And that's the next thing. We say that our MPs should come from the area. And not just come from the area. Somebody asked a question on your video itself, Lima, where does Stuart Young live? And we responded one Woodbrook Place because look at you clearly don't have to live and experience what your residents live and experience every day. That road in Belmont, when he passes it every 5 years to get your vote, he don't have to ever pass there again. Shamfa Kujo, when she walking in her
Yeah.
high heels and kitten heels along the Pigeon Point Road and walking and kissing your babies and smiling. She don't ever have to pass there again. After that is moving on up to the big house.
Yeah. Well, not even moving, driving in the Prado. Remember I did a post where I saw the Prado pass, and right in front of Royal Castle on Saddle Road there. There's that dip. The van just float over this hole, so they don't feel anything in there. One of these days, I'm gonna ask one of the police officers here, what? Carry me from right here to there over a pothole, and let me see how that is feel inside of that vehicle.
Replace all
Because
them
like
Prado
there's
with
been a
B13.
different world.
Replace all them Prado
Yeah.
with B13 and B14, and all of a sudden you will see roads getting paved every 10 months.
Yeah.
The first time they have to
They
change,
out of
or tell them they're responsible for changing the shocks on the vehicles. You'll see how quickly they'd want to pave.
yeah. They out of touch with
Anyway,
the reality of the people.
indeed. We are we have about 25 minutes left in the program. So we spoke about the work you're doing on the ground. You told me about the response to you in the constituency, which seems very positive. People are looking for and ready for a change. What are some of the major issues facing your community and by extension the constituency of Port of Spain North and Sands West?
Right now, there is a huge disparity in constituency for water. I had water in my pipes yesterday, but somebody from Belmont Valley Road let me know they didn't get water for a week. And then somebody else from another part of Belmont, which falls under the Lavantil West constituency, is Belmont, but it's under a different constituency. They didn't get water for a month, right? And then you're hearing other areas like Newtown and Picton, they don't have water problems. They get water 24/7. Certain areas in Cascade get water for like half an hour for the most, and then it gone. And they don't get water as often as I do up here. So it's like, how could this one constituency suffer for water so much? And we right Savannah, there's a water pump system
The
by
aquifer.
Cascade there. How is it they have problems for water? St. Anne's and all this have serious issues for water. How is it that one constituency could have so much problems? And that's what I want to get to the root of. I spoke to a couple of friends who work WASA, and they say, well, because that one constituency gets from 3 different areas. So I say, how is that possible? So we couldn't get it from one spot alone? So he gave me some suggestions, but at the end of the day, once I am elected, I am going to have to go into WASA and sit down and have a conversation with this engineer and the manager for the distribution of water, and figure out how to fix it, because we need to fix this. And if it means building more reservoirs or tanks or some kind of thing, or giving people their own option of collecting rainwater, we need to come up with some sort of solution to this. You can't have people like this. We are in 2020, we still fighting for water.
That I can't believe that is even a solution, but it is so real, and that has to be a solution. Catching your own rainwater, which apparently is supposedly illegal, right? You catching and holding your own water. The that the water distribution system, Lima, and you were mentioning what we can do. The Port of Spain North River, the St. Anne's East River, sorry, that runs through from St. Anne's all the way down into the ocean,
East
down
Dry
to the
River.
foreshore there. East Dry River, the Port of Spain East Dry River. That river, the capacity of that river to the amount of water that rushes down that river is probably enough to give St. Anne's, Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, the neighboring community of Diego Martin Northeast, and probably the
There's a
community on the
spring
left
and
it.
a river. There's a spring and a river further St. Anne's. Why haven't they tapped into that?
Why haven't
So
they tapped into that? I'm looking at some of your pictures on your walkabout there. For those who are wondering, people asking me where are your people? I'm not seeing them on the ground. It's not our fault you weren't home while we knocked on your door, but check your mailbox. Most likely we left you a policy flyer. Lip in
not
peace
only
saying her
that, some people don't want to come out. I don't know if they think it's Jehovah's passing, but some people don't want to come out. They some telling you blatantly, I'm not interested.
I had a
So
conversation with him like that this weekend, telling me he's not interested in politics. I said, "You're happy with how the country running?" And I watched the lie in his eyes as he opened his mouth to say, "Yes, I'm happy. Everything is perfect." I said, "You obviously getting paid, or your bread buttered, because
mhm,
nobody, no citizen in this country could ever realistically say that
say
everything
that,
is
yeah.
working well in this country. And to say that, you are one of the people obviously benefiting from things working the way that it is. And that's real sad because it's, for every one of you, there are 100 more people who are living in squalor and who your
Yeah.
life continue to keep in squalor because you're not being truthful to yourself that this country is in a mess and it needs fixing.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the other questions. If you could fix one of the major issues in Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, what would it be?
If I could fix, I think the situation with the garbage and separation of garbage, recycling, I think I would want to tackle that. It's between the water and that one. But the thing is, there's so many different things that I want to do, and I'll be doing it simultaneously once I'm elected. So I can't really
Mm-hmm.
pinpoint and say one thing because I want to fix the water situation. I want to have that. I also want to do, the separation of garbage and start letting people know, separate your glass bottles, your plastic bottles, decomposable stuff, put up things where people could collect their garbage and areas where they could safely throw their garbage and the trucks know where to go get them. Have consultation with these people who picking up the garbage. What are the issues in the corporations? Every single corner in Belmont is a garbage heap. And then
And
agriculture, things like that.
agriculture.
I want to implement things like that where the schools get involved, uh, get corporate society to pick a school and help them with their garden. And look at Belmont. Belmont have 99 schools. If each school did 5 different crops, or let's say 5 to 10 simple different crops, each child could go home with something when it's time for the crop to bear. You're going to teach
99
them
schools, yes.
from young. No, that was just a rough figure. I was just being,
Ah.
I was being.
Okay, go
But
ahead.
if each
Yeah.
school did 5 different crops, each child could go home with a different thing. And then each school could trade. It depends. But you're teaching them from small the importance of agriculture and growing your own food. They're going to, proud. Children going to be, Mommy, look what I did. I grow this. I do this in my school. So you're
Mm.
going to encourage them from small to do things like that. And they might very well want to do it home You could get farmers to come and show them little tips how to do this, when it looking like this, what to do, what to spray, how to throw the water. Because children think you're just throwing water anyhow. So you teach them the proper techniques. Why not do these things? You're teaching them from small the importance of growing food, and right now we need that more than ever.
Indeed. All right. Next question. Which of PEP's 21 policies resonates the most with you? What is your number one or your favorite PEP policy?
My favorite PEP policy would have to be the healthcare one, where we decentralize to all the different health centers and make them, competent enough and able to, at least stabilize up to a major heart attack before they transfer. I like that because when you go certain areas, especially remote areas, you have a long time before you reach to any emergency hospital. And as a parent, I've had one too many little hiccups, and especially with children, and I find it's unfair. So when my daughter broke her arm, they rushed her to St. James Accident and Emergency. And from there, they couldn't treat her broken arm. I had to carry her Moncton. Why in God's name are you putting the children's ward in Moncton? Every major hospital should have a children's ward. So you telling me you coming from deep south, let's say you coming from Icacos or one of those places, you telling me the child you had to go San Fernando or wherever first, and then you telling me you had to transfer to Mount Hope, the children's ward? That is wickedness. You have to be some kind of brain dead idiot to say that all the children in the whole country have to go that one place. Decentralize it, have every hospital have a ward for the children. That's crazy. How is it okay, so is there a difference between a pediatric doctor and a regular doctor to fix a broken arm? A broken arm is a broken arm. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but at the same time, Jesus, it can't be that much of a difference in terms of medical schooling and education to know, well, the arm is broken, let's see how to fix it for a child and it's different for an adult. You have x-ray, you have all kind of technology. What the hell? These people
No,
crazy.
you're on point there, Lemma, because it is crazy, absolutely insane to assume that if a child has some emergency and this child is living, according to you, Icacos or down Deep Point 14 or down Maruga or up in Toko, that if they have some emergency, the only way or the only means to get assistance is if they are transported down to a centralized hospital. It is insane, like you said, that there isn't a children's ward in every single hospital in the country to deal with issues like this. And I mean, building hospitals. I passed the Arima Hospital last week, Saturday. I passed the Hoover Children's Hospital. Every time I have to go down south, they're building the Point Fort. I passed all of these so-called hospitals, and I asked myself, for all of this that you're building, are you making sure that each of these hospitals are fully equipped to deal with any kind of emergency should it have to take place in the environment?
What they fail to understand is that building multi-million-dollar projects is not advancement. If your system is the problem, you need to go and sit down and understand, okay, if a child comes in for what emergency and they live in the West, where they have to go. They should be able to go in any accident and emergency to be able to handle whatever before you transfer them to any children's ward, especially if it's an emergency. And is an accident and emergency, you are supposed to be able to treat a child there. What is the big deal with here, the children's ward? You are a doctor. That's the foolishness that I don't understand, and they need to start looking at the systems. The system is the problem, not building more buildings. Building more buildings with the same flawed system, you're just going to do the same nonsense in the new hospitals too. You're going to have it overcrowded, people sitting down waiting hours for a bench or a bed or whatever the thing is, because the system is what is the problem, and they don't want to admit to that. Yes, you created the system, but at the end of the day, the system is meant to be improved every year. You check to make sure, okay, where could we improve? Not because it worked then means it working now. It's not. It's the same thing with SCA. It worked then, it's not working now. 30 children in one class could never learn the same way, the same time, the same pattern. It is impossible. And we're doing madness in this country.
Hmm. Well said, Lamo. All right, so we're nearing the end, and I would like you to answer this one last question. In your own words, why do you think that the Progressive Empowerment Party is the best political vehicle right now in Trinidad and Tobago? And why are you a candidate under the Progressive Empowerment Party?
Okay, I'll answer the second one first. I'm a candidate because nothing works in this country, and it's time we get somebody who is willing to sit down and fix it, sit down and go through each system. And I am the best candidate for this constituency because I live here. I go through the process of everything. I have children in the public school. I have to go public hospitals. I had all of my children in public hospitals. So I could understand the pain that everybody's through sitting down in Port of Spain General Maternity Ward. Yes, they have improved, but same time, more could be done. Progressive Empowerment Party is the party for the future because we have the simplest solutions to the problems in this country. And we have sat down and seen, right, SCA is abusive. What is the solution? You abolish it and you go to GPA system. So you track each child's performance from preschool all the way up to university. That is the way the world works. Decentralize your healthcare so that I live in Belmont. I don't have to rush Port of Spain General. I could have gone Oxford Street Health Center. People living in St. James could go St. James Medical Center, the accident and emergency there. Simple things. Decentralize your water so each constituency could get water and distribute it. Simple solutions for the problems, and that is what we are looking at now. The world has changed and we need to follow that pattern. Solutions to all the problems, and that is what you need now. This pappy show and geometry and wave and wind up the place with your flag, and after elections you're still in the same position as you was before. You can't get a house, you can't depend on HDC. Right? When you go in the hospital, you ain't sure you get a bed. You ain't sure you leave the hospital alive for that matter. Right? You bounce up some hog nurse, it have no redress. The doctor misdiagnose you, it have no redress. You get an accident, you're dead. You had to wait how much days before you could find out what killed the person in autopsy. You call the police, sorry, we ain't have no vehicles. Your roof blow off, you're waiting 2 to 3 weeks before you could get help to build over your roof. It have no help for you to do that. And I said that in a video. The people whose roof got blown off, why didn't they ask the regiment engineering battalion to come and assist the people just with labor? The man could have bought his materials, or they just come in to help put the roof over. So all now you just have a taplin, and the PNM council saying they got help. And I asked her, so you think 2 weeks is sufficient to be without a roof and electricity? And she couldn't answer that because you're shit. That's wrong. And I'm sure if she was in that position, she would have been upset too. But they don't like to put themselves in people's position. And that's the problem we have. We don't have any empathetic politicians in this country to feel what people are going through. They don't know. That's why I just keep saying they don't live our reality. These people out of touch. And it's time to vote them out. I saw a video with Camille Robinson Reggie. She's sweeping. What you sweeping? The broom should have take off with her and go flying. She's social development minister, and social development has collapsed. Every arm of that is failing. We have high rates of molestation, incest, all kind of things. That is under her purview. What are you doing? And you are a woman. Because you have to run, and they must don't even live Trinidad, or they go in Maple Leaf or some rich people's school. To hell with everybody else, child, right? That is what we need to fix. Go through social development, fix every single system. And it's not hard. You have things that you could do. Find the problems and solve it. And it's not hard. But that is why Progressive Empowerment Party is here. And that is what PNM and UNC fail to realize. Because if they were doing what they were supposed to do instead of thieving out all the money, PEP would not have been here.
Extremely well said, Lima. And I was going to ask you a question about the failures of the government, and I think you answered it in the question. I'll still ask it. You answered it in your statement just now, where I was going to ask, why do you think it is not, or why do you think these simple solutions that you're talking about, for all of the doctorates and the degrees that these people in Parliament hold, is it that they just don't understand how to fix things, or is it that they just are hell bent on keeping it the way it is? Because it seems to be the latter. It seems to be that a failing country works in their benefit. A failing country means that you constantly have a population that is considered your base, who you could thief up their head with. I met a woman on Saturday who started to tell me that Dr. Rowley handled COVID-19 perfectly, and if the UNC were there, that we would have had COVID-19 all throughout the country. And I'm just hearing her regurgitate PNM fed propaganda, and I realized that
Yeah, but
there's
how
a
she
whole.
know UNC would have done worse than PNN? For all we know, we don't even know exactly how many COVID cases we really had, because for a very long time we've been having people sick in San Fernando Hospital with some flu-like symptoms, and a lot of people died from that. So for all you know, it was here long before that, and they were just hiding it. We wouldn't know. We wouldn't
We
know.
wouldn't, because it's a country where they sweep things under the carpet and they burn records to
Exactly.
protect people
And they had
and
to
they
protect
lie.
them so they could look good instead of tell people the truth. Whereas in countries like Germany and New Zealand, the prime ministers and the chancellor came out and told the people the truth, that this is a dangerous disease and this is going to be devastating, and we have to implement stringent measures. That is what the German chancellor said. She was frank comment about it. And that is the difference. You're coming here to blame UNC. Oh my God. So if he win next election, who he going and blame? The man is, I don't know. They out, and as a next thing, I feel we should put an age limit, because apparently when you reach a certain age, your brain don't function too right once you're in parliament and you're breathing a different air or something. Something is terribly wrong. How all of you so? All?
Not just
We have a
age
minister
limit,
of
that's
national security. We have no, all of them should sit a SCA exam, and if you fail, that's it. We should make it mandatory that Garcia do a SCA exam.
I I just had an image of him sitting behind one of those little desks in a primary school doing an essay examination. That is hilarious. You're going to say something about the Minister of National Security.
Imagine that, you as Minister of National Security and your own stepdaughter in drugs. And then you're hearing rumors how she abroad. So what happened to the other two people she got locked up with? Them in jail, ain't? So them could rot away in jail while she gets a palance.
You see, they young, not young, they black and probably from.
High
Actually,
color.
we know this when they were locked up, she was the only one who could secure bail. They had to
Yeah.
remain in jail, which is such a damning reality. Yeah? The person who running the
Yeah.
drugs, and that's just a reflection of this country, is always the ones in office and ones in high position who bringing in the drugs. They can get away because they can afford lawyers and bail money, and they have this one willing to twist the facts and hide evidence for them to get away. But the poor black man on the street who running the drugs for them, filling up our prisons in the
And
hundreds,
being used like
spending
pawns, and they
the
wouldn't
free
see
money.
that.
Exactly. Look at what this country went through when come son phone get lost. The whole country shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
helicopter. And
Right?
all
You,
kind of things
you
just to
bring out,
find self
you bring out
food.
the elite squad, right? But all them missing people we have, you can't pull out the elite squad for them to find them. All those missing young girls and people just vanish into some black hole. And Gary can't make a statement about it yet. Stuart too busy doing God alone knows what to talk about it. I don't understand. What is the point of having a minister of national security if you're not secure in the country? You're studying yourself to look good and wave.
Hmm. All right, Lima, we have 2 minutes left to the end of this program. Please take those 2 minutes to address your constituency of Port of Spain, North St. Angeles. Tell them why they should choose you as their next MP for the area and why they should definitely fire Stuart Young.
I just want to say that it would be my pleasure to be the representative for this constituency because I live here, I know the problems, I understand the issues, and I'm willing to fix it. Stuart Young has been given an opportunity and he has failed, and we have seen that he has failed. He's picking and choosing where he's going, and that is not the representation we need. We need a complete representation where all the citizens needs are being met, and it's simple issues that just need a simple fix, a solution. That just the fact that you could reach out to the people to hear what they say is the problem, and see if you could render assistance. That is what we need. And I'm just asking for an opportunity to show you what real representation is about. I know I could do it. I just need a chance to be put there.
I seem to have lost you there for a second, Lima. I don't know if that's on my side or yours. You said you wanted an opportunity to.
To fix this, give me a chance and let me show you how real representation is supposed to be. If I follow people like Jacinda Ardern, Angela Merkel, and I look at outside countries, how well they are doing, obviously I want the same for my country. I can't want to travel and experience that and not come back here and want to fix it too. Come on. It's time for real change, and let's get people who are willing to do it.
Indeed, and well said. Lima McLeod, your next representative for Port of Spain, North St. Angeles. I look forward to going into that voting booth and putting my X next to Lima McLeod, those people who want real change, not just change. Please vote for Lima McLeod if you would like to see that difference in your community and your country by extension. Trinidad and Tobago, thank you for joining me this morning. Lima, thank you for being my guest this Monday morning. We are kicking off our motorcade this morning. Are you a part of that? Are you joining us in that?
No, I don't think so. I have to go to my returning officer. She called and asked for me to come and pick up something. So
yeah, it's just a letter that you have to collect. So if you have the time, please come and join us as we go across all the constituencies. Thank you for being a part. And what's that little video we are going to play in the end there? We could probably play it as the closing to this program. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new candidate under the Progressive Empowerment Party. Have a great day, and remember, let's stay together by staying apart. Bye-bye.
bye.